Have you heard of Anchor? If not, it's about time you get on board. Anchor is the easiest way to create podcasts. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. It will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It's free, and you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's real.
3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
I am the greatest. WISU presents Chop It Up the Podcast with Amere and Baylee Chamberlain. Your key to the sports world. Let's get to it. Yes, sir. It's Chop It Up the Podcast. Your key to the sports world. I'm Amere alongside my partner Baylee Chamberlain, and this is season 1, episode 11. And man, it's finals week here on campus.
I know, man.
How it's been for you?
I've got 2 online ones done. I took my other in-class one this morning, and I got 2 more left. So just kind of grinding it out and waiting to be done.
It's been long. I've been ripping and running all throughout campus, printing out papers and making PowerPoints and presenting. It's terrible.
Yep.
It's terrible. But go ahead and unlock the sports world with the key to the headlines.
All right, we're going to start in local news. Boys basketball on Friday. Evansville Boss 52. Terre Haute South 39. Terre Haute South lost. Terre Haute North beat Evansville Central 65-37 at home. West Vigo lost to Greencastle 52-73. That was at home as well. And then Northview Brazil played Sullivan, and Sullivan won by 3. That was Northview's season opener. And then Terre Haute North and South swimming teams combine every year to face the 2 Bloomington teams in the Sister Cities meet. They earned 2nd place, Terre Haute North and South did. As for the Sycamores, junior forward Jamara Kristen won the Valley Newcomer of the Week award after a good week last week. She averaged 12 points and 9 boards in the 2 games. The men's and women's track and field teams were dominant at the ISU Early Bird. They both earned 1st place over Marian University and the University of Illinois Chicago. The men finished with 155 points while the women ended with 159. Their next event is next Tuesday at the Malloy Cup at Illinois State University. The football team has announced their 2020 schedule and will begin the next year on the road at Eastern Illinois. They also have hired Ryan Stokes as their special teams coordinator. Stokes was a graduate assistant for the Sycamores and finally has a name under his belt. So shout out to him. I also saw that we play North Dakota State next year at home.
Yeah, that's going to be a big game,
yeah. In national news, Ole Miss football team has hired former Florida Atlantic coach Lane Kiffin as the head coach of their program. He's an overall college coaching record of 61-34 and will be tested as he steps up to coach in the SEC. There have been murmuring about the MLB's amateur draft moving to Omaha, Nebraska from New Jersey. In the NHL, I saw this earlier, the Dallas Stars have fired their head coach, Jim Montgomery, on Tuesday for, quote, unprofessional conduct. As the reason for dismissal, it came as a surprise because of how good the Stars' performance has been up to this point this season. Dallas went 43-32-7 in Montgomery's only full season and lost in the second round of the playoffs.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, you mentioned the first boys basketball score. That was on Friday. The last time they played was on Saturday, and Terre Haute South was at Mooresville. Terre Haute South won. Well, Terre Haute South lost. It was Mooresville has 67. Terre Haute South has 61.
Yep.
They came into this game off the road. They had lost to Evansville Boss on Friday already.
It is a battle between 2 different teams as South's starting lineup is pretty much 5 guards.
Yeah, Mooresville, they had a big team with almost every player at 6'5", and you know it's surprising when you see a high school team that big anyway.
It's just a mismatch on the court, and South struggled against Mooresville 1-3-1 zone defense in the beginning of the game.
And yeah, both teams had 10 steals. Mooresville started off hot. They got theirs early, while South got theirs in the end. They couldn't make they couldn't make it work.
Yeah, the loss brings Terre Haute South's record to 2-1, and they're hosting Avon next Saturday.
Yeah. West Vigo, they hosted Owen Valley.
Yep.
That was the open up for conference play for them, and West Vigo won 50-49. And I remember on Twitter, Sean Roberts hit a last minute shot, and I just retweeted you like, "Hey man, we seeing them do this again."
Right.
They came into this game on a 2-game losing streak.
And they needed this win because Owen Valley is a conference opponent, so they got the win early in the season, which is good, and just set the tone.
Yeah, and Sean Roberts, he had 16 points, but Owen Valley didn't do too bad.
Yeah, Stephen Atkinson of Owen Valley did a good job as he brought the game within 1 in the final seconds of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Sean Roberts, he responded better with just with a game-winning buzzer beater. It was at like 0.1 left in the game. So,
dude, imagine hitting a game-winning 3 at home. Like, that's got to be like the dream, one of the dream things, honestly, in life. Hitting a game-winning, but not just like a game-winning shot, game-winning buzzer beater on your home court, dude. That'd be incredible.
Yeah. Sullivan and Northview also played. Sullivan and Northview played on the 6th, which was Friday. So we'll cover them again when they play West Vigo on the 13th and see how that goes. So that's this Friday. So we'll cover them later and give you guys the headlines on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, Sycamore Spotlight. Indiana State men's basketball. They traveled to Wright State in Dayton, Ohio.
Yes, sir.
Got the win in overtime, 84-77. And what was the biggest thing that, caught your eye?
Cooper Neese, baby.
Yeah, obviously the same with me. You look at the stats, 25 points, man. 5 of 8 from the 3?
Yeah.
We didn't see him come out like this, and sometimes it takes time to warm up.
Right.
But this is one thing I noticed about Cooper Neese when it first started. He did start off rough, but they started off with like the first 3, 4, 5 games on the road.
Yep.
As soon as they got into Terre Haute,
Guess
he
what?
had a good game.
Yeah.
So I know he was used to playing on those Terre Haute rims, and just seeing him improve again is also good. And I got a chance to listen to an interview after the game of what he said just about stepping up and being a leader, and this is what he said.
I got to be every single night what we don't have on the floor. If we don't have communication, if that's not going well, I need to be that. If we're not knocking down shots maybe on a particular night, I got to hit a couple shots and help my team in. That goes for everything on the floor, rebounding, assisting, playmaking, just being able to have my teammates back. I got to do everything I possibly can.
Yeah, I just like hearing how he feels like he has to step up in every position. He feels like whatever they're missing, like he said in the interview, if we're missing with communication, then we got to get that taken care of. If it's passing, if it's assisting, then I got to be there for that.
And then if it's scoring, you saw him do the last couple of games, and it's always good to have a guy like that on your court. And especially, I've said it before, when with a team like this that has a lot of new faces, just to see him do that, that's going to make them want to do that as well and step up, which is really good. So Cooper Neese put on a show. Jordan Barnes, 22 points. He hit 3 threes, also had 5 assists. It was really just them two scoring-wise. And then I liked what I saw out of Trey Williams as well a lot. He ended up having 14 points. They had that good big guard balance, which me and you've talked about many times on this podcast. You want to see that.
Yeah.
We did see that, but will it last is the question.
This is the thing. Like, when you look at all of the talent on their team, and sometimes I think it just takes time for a team to develop, and it takes time for a team to get better. But you see these little, like, explosive, these little parts of talent out of these players. Some games, sometimes they do it, and then sometimes they don't.
Yep.
The time when they do come together and they all show it at one time on a consistent basis,
it's gonna be hard to beat, man.
That's when they become, championship teams. And sometimes that just takes time to build up.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's what it is with Indiana State. Maybe it's taking time for them to build up.
Right.
But as far as your question is, will it continue? No, it's just they haven't been consistent yet.
Facts. Yeah.
So if they can't, but if they, I've seen improvement.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, they've been inconsistent. I have seen improvement.
They went ahead and they started off 0-4. They've got 5 straight wins now. And it's not like these wins haven't come against really easy teams. One was a D2 school, and then they played North Dakota State, which is a really good program, and then to go into Wright State. That was the biggest thing. That was a road win against a really good basketball team, Wright State, and they showed the resilience. That's just what Coach said a lot in the press conference. And then overtime, they did what they needed to do in overtime, and really it was on the defensive end. The first bucket in OT was made by Cooper Neese, who's a corner 3 right out of bounds, and really just started the spark on the offensive end. But on the other side of the court, defense, Trey Williams, man, dog. He had 2 huge blocks and then forced a travel, which you're not going to see that on the stat sheet. But they double-teamed the guy. He kept the pressure as the other player went off, and then he traveled, got a turnover, and the amount of just intensity and how hyped he got after that play, I was like, all right, this team's not losing this game.
Yeah.
And it showed, man. That team went in there and played a really good game and came out with a W. Now they've gotten 5 straight.
Yeah, and Tyreek Key, he only had 4 points.
Yeah.
But one thing that I did notice is he wasn't completely dead on the court. He wasn't completely missing because he had 9 rebounds, which is important because one thing that Indiana State struggles with is rebounds.
Yep.
But, I'm not saying they haven't been improving on that either because I've been seeing a lot of improvement with that. One thing that I can say, though, is with Key, with Barnes, and even with people like the young guys like Kobe Barnes.
Yep.
The young people who just gets rotations in.
LaRavia, all them.
Yeah, once they all come together at once,
dude,
it'd be a lot better. But, I don't know if that's coachable. I really think that just comes with time. I think, you got to just, that's the time, it just takes time for that type of chemistry to build up.
And the longer this positive momentum goes on, they're just going to keep feeding off of each other. Coach Lansing also said they've strung together 6 or 7 really, really good practices. And the basketball gods will pay you with that. If you put the time in and you prepare for these games, it's showing with the 5-game win streak. So I think they're having a lot of fun right now. Obviously, every team or any team is when you just pile on wins. But like I said, if they can just keep it going, they're going to be a scary team. Now, I hate to say this because they still won and they still played a really good game, but imagine Key scores 15, 16, 17, 18 points. Even he gets over 20. Dude, they win that game by double digits easily. But he did. He got a knee from Trey Williams to the head. And he went down, and Coach said that he had a huge gash over his eye. He said it was like a UFC gash, so he was getting stitched up, and he probably has a concussion. So he left right before OT, so they played the whole overtime without him as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing that when you listen to what Cooper Neese said, you missed that player in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Can somebody step up? And he said, when something is missing, I can come in and do it, and he did with the 25 points.
So, hopefully this team can keep it on. We'll do the preview of the Tennessee State game next week because they play them. So it's gonna be pretty fun.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the overtime and the defense, how that stood out. That's just, when you see that type of stuff, that's what I talk about with improvement. It's just
facts.
It's getting better and better. So.
And even Jake LaRavia was going out there and getting 3-4 rebounds a possession, and he was shot blocking. Dude. They're starting to mesh now.
And LaRavia is young,
right?
So that's another thing, and he's not small, 6'8", 215. Yeah. That's not bad height or weight.
Yep.
So with him playing, that young, he's gonna get bigger. He's gonna get a lot better. His basketball IQ will get a lot better. So that it also help him grow. I just think with the team being. Because it's a couple of young people on this team.
Oh, yeah.
Trey Williams, number one, he's young also.
Freshman.
So
true freshman.
You get, they'll all build up at one point.
Now, we can do all this non-conference, but I want to see this January, February.
And I think that's why you said, can it last?
Yep.
Yes, it needs to.
Yeah.
But we heard last episode, Coach Lansing was talking about how he's more focused on Valley play than anything.
Yep, and that was so good to hear.
And I hope it's true.
Yeah. And I also said this, I'm pretty sure last episode is the players have to be ready for that and have to be hungry just because all the just kind of disappointing seasons in the last few seasons, they'll get to the conference tournament and lose first round. They'll have a losing record in conference play. I think the whole team's hungry and they're ready to fight this year, and I'm pretty excited to watch it.
Yep. All right. So that's all for Sycamore Spotlight. We're going to talk a little